For many decades, our planning and design industry has had a process in place, particularly in the early phases of the project, which really hasn't changed. It's a very time-consuming and sometimes pretty frustrating process of searching, collating, gathering base information, often from a wide range of sources and resources, different formats, and then printing it all out, often at large scale, and then using reams of tracing paper, sketch paper, sketching over the top to undertake things like site analysis, opportunities and constraints, view lines and vistas, slope analysis, identifying developable land, etc. And then you need to take all of this information and develop some broad concepts, which then have to be packaged up, presented to a client or a decision maker for input and approval to help take the project to the next level. And the really bizarre thing is that most of the time, this process is still happening in 2D, on a flat plane, using reams of paper, and then of course the team has to write extraordinary amounts of words, sometimes create additional sketches, possibly add some reference images and pictures, and then incorporate all of this into a report in an attempt to help try to explain what all the sketches are trying to represent. An extraordinary challenge, and one that very rarely is an easy one to achieve. And it's a process full of unintentional misinterpretations, misunderstanding, errors, omissions, and in other words, frustration, lost time and lost money. And I know this firsthand because I was a part of it for 20 years. At V2i, we have a passion, vision, and importantly, the desire to change all of this. Having now been involved with Epic's Unreal Engine for some 6 or so years and appreciating its capability whilst working on some of Australia's largest public and private sector projects, together with also understanding and appreciating the enormous power of virtual collaboration and web delivery through things like pixel streaming, and more recently the ability to access extraordinary amounts of public data and bring all of this together into an Unreal Engine based, easy to understand and use and enjoyable experience, provides an extraordinary and generational opportunity. We see an opportunity to completely transform and change a process which has been in place for decades, and importantly, change this process from the ground up. Being built around the world's most recognised gaming engine, just about which every teenager loves. Even my 10-year-old nephew was telling me the other day how proud he was that my company was based around the Unreal Engine, and that for him, that made good sense. V2i Sketchtime is simply going to give this next generation a different way to use the engine and the gaming skills that they all have. And that's the key. Our bold vision is that we want every school student, every young designer, coming out of tertiary education or a TAFE or a college, to have a working knowledge of V2i Sketchtime, and for it to become a part of their base toolkit. This will revolutionise the industry from the ground up. Like any good product, V2i Sketchtime will be super easy to use, and we are determined to help open up the remarkable power and capabilities of the global gaming empire to an older generation who have very little exposure or understanding of how it can truly transform their industry. Importantly, we'll also encourage the collaboration, education, and teaching that the young will be able to bring to the old. However, like any great change or revolution, we need support and assistance to help build the grassroots momentum and appreciation of the need and benefits that this revolution will bring, and that's why this grant will play such an important role in sowing the seeds by demonstrating some of the incredible benefits that this real-time revolution will deliver. So here's a taste of what we're trying to achieve.
V2i Sketchtime is based on the extraordinary power of Epic's Unreal Engine, and what can be achieved through our collaboration with a number of existing global partners, including CCM, AWS, Aerometrics, NextSpace and others, together with the 35 years of industry experience and know-how of the V2i group. V2i Sketchtime is a cloud-based, spatially accurate 3D virtual solution, which will revolutionise the way projects are initiated, and firmly cement the Unreal Engine as a fundamental piece of technology in the planning and design process from day one. It will be a simple plug-and-play application, requiring no prior technical knowledge, and is focused on generating a new level of interest, enjoyment, and even excitement around a better way of doing things in the property development, infrastructure, and AEC communities. Once the subject site is located, it is identified on a layer and forms the basis for the journey ahead. Utilising the incredible power and capabilities of the cesium world terrain, we can quickly explore and understand the region and the site's relationship to its surroundings, from as close or as far as you wish to go. Another exciting breakthrough is the ability to access Google APIs, which provides a treasure trove of data, such as the opportunity to identify key regional destinations. We can create a series of predetermined filters that will help us locate a variety of the surrounding relevant facilities, which will help facilitate the appropriate planning of the subject site. Likewise, Google's search function can also be incorporated, such as this example where we are looking to locate the airports close by, and then see the actual drive time to a particular airport. Now that we know a little more about what's surrounding the site, generally the first step in the planning and design process would be understanding the site's opportunities and constraints, where we can now tap into the vast range of publicly available GIS datasets and select what we need for the subject site. In this particular demonstration, we have selected the land use, flood area, and cadastral data. This information can then be imported into V2i Sketchtime at the push of a button, enabling anyone to easily explore it in 3D and intuitively understand how the site may be impacted. These datasets can then be used for simple things such as outlining the site, or highlighting the flood areas, to then develop the broad sketch concepts which will enable us to establish a basic structure plan from which further designs unfold. Now that there is a basic understanding of these opportunities and constraints, and how they impact the site, basic sketch designs can already follow. Broad development opportunities and potential can start to be identified, such as conservation areas, major green space corridors, and of course, developable land. Additionally, various notes can be made, and, importantly, geo-referenced, so that a more detailed site inspection can follow as required. With this broad structure in place, key destinations and key assets can now be identified, such as in this particular case, the project entry, suggested marina location, location for the community centre, and even major regional parks. A wide range of additional feature sets can be included to assist with understanding the broad community creation principles, such as, in this case, walkable catchments. These can be easily dragged and dropped to help all stakeholders understand the impact that these have on space planning and creating communities. Now that this initial base plan is in place, you can now start to explore things like road hierarchy, and in this case, it incorporates a major arrival boulevard, how it swings by the community facility, the open space precincts, community parklands, and down to the marina. There is then the concept of a series of esplanade roads, which interface with the parkland and conservation corridors, and once that is in place, there are some broad concepts of how the internal residential and even laneway type products and roadways may unfold. Once again, we have the ability to introduce a wide range of tools to assist with this process. In this particular case, we are simply highlighting a 10-meter grid which can be dragged onto the site and rotated accordingly, to assist with internal road spacing and location. All of this information can be saved with version control and retrieved at any time to understand how a process is unfolded, or importantly, to allow others who are not present in the virtual collaboration process to date to review work previously undertaken. These previously saved versions can then be added to and expanded upon. It should be noted that this demonstration has simply used a mouse to draw, and that we are developing tools that will dramatically improve the graphical look and feel of the output, including the ability to utilize things such as Wacom tablets and stylus pens, etc. To further assist with space planning and understanding of the general size and scale of the site, we are also able to drag and drop a series of predetermined and relevant reference sites, which provides some understanding of how the subject site compares to other well-known sites of a similar outcome, from anywhere in the world. Here we have another opportunity to tap into Google APIs to go and visit those subject sites in 3D or Google Street View to enable more informed conversations around how these particular sites might benefit the space planning of our subject site. One of our fundamental goals is to help non-technical stakeholders understand the reality of spatial requirements and how that impacts their own site. As with everything we're trying to do, it is simply around enabling all stakeholders to have a more informed, equitable, and enjoyable conversation, which leads to more informed decisions to help fast-track a real-world outcome. Please note that the user interface will be updated as part of the next phase of development, and that these are just some of our initial concept layout designs. Once these broad brush site analysis and concepts are undertaken, we also have the opportunity to introduce some basic three-dimensional objects to further help understand and appreciate the proposed outcomes. Initially, these may be reasonably basic in their form. However, there is no reason why these cannot become more detailed as the project progresses. In this part of the demonstration, we are identifying how we can drag and drop a series of predetermined library assets to help create a very basic overview of the site in 3D. Our bold vision is, where appropriate, to recreate these broad brush concepts in 3D, and in this case, we are layering on predetermined assets for a typical marina, clubhouse, and parkland, and then incorporate the road infrastructure, such as the entry boulevard. Given that V2i Sketchtime is not seeking to replace important design processes, but rather help facilitate a clearer briefing and preferred direction by the client, this drag and drop process is intended to be a simple way of helping anyone appreciate possible site opportunities and outcomes, and to assist with effective and efficient briefing to the design team. As this opportunity grows, so will the feature set and online drag and drop library of available 2D and 3D assets. We can then conceptually lay out the Esplanade Road concepts, and just as we did with the grid layout tool, we can now utilize our lot layout tool to help develop some very rough lot dimensions and spatial requirements for road design. Our goal is to achieve an agreed outcome via a virtual collaboration experience amongst a variety of stakeholders and decision makers within just a few hours, which traditionally may have taken many days or even weeks of meetings with all the associated costs. Importantly, the outcome is saved in a virtual environment that can be easily accessed and updated by all approved stakeholders, anytime and anywhere. Just imagine the significant time and cost savings and the increased interest, engagement, and understanding of an outcome this will facilitate. Once these crude lot layouts and road designs are in place, we can then simply stamp around generic houses at this stage in the process. The next step is often the incorporation of some basic landscaping, whether that is the boulevard trees, street trees, or general open space vegetation. Now we are planting out the main boulevard with a different feature tree, selected from the drag and drop menu. We can then look at incorporating some lower level planting in the median. With our mass planting tool, we can then quickly represent major vegetation corridors and buffer areas. At any time, instant snapshots can be taken, or even preliminary animations and flight paths recorded and shared with others. Once this crude 3D work is complete, it can then be used to provide a much clearer understanding of the general high-level planning outcomes and project opportunities, to help facilitate more informed and equitable discussions, leading to faster decisions. Importantly, we'll provide users with the ability to export the results of this V2i Sketchtime process and integrate elements of it into other standard industry design tools and processes, such as CAD, SketchUp, Photoshop, and even Twinmotion, to ensure a smooth transition into the next phase of design. Another one of the many features that can be added is the gallery tool, which allows images to be uploaded and viewed in the scene via a series of tags to help explain the proposed outcomes. As we have previously mentioned, the fundamental goal is to embed Epic's Unreal Engine, via our V2i Sketchtime product, into the project lifecycle from day one, and once there, for it to be built upon throughout the entire project lifecycle and beyond, as a fundamental piece of digital infrastructure which is continually updated and utilised through the real-time integration of data via a variety of tools, and importantly, other integrated platforms, which are being developed worldwide, such as the metaverse. We're also looking to integrate with other Epic subsidiary libraries, such as Sketchfab, ArtStation, Quixel Megascans, and once supported, Reality Capture, to provide thousands of built-form related 3D assets to the community, and allow for the import and drag and drop use of third-party assets through these platforms.
Well, there you have it. It's a bold vision and one that we truly believe is within our grasp for the integration of readily available technology and data sets now. And we see the Unreal Engine as a critical foundation to this process. As an SME, I'm extremely proud of what my team and indeed the global partners that we have helped us achieve to date with our projects and products such as V2i Realtime and V2i Streamtime. However, it's V2i Sketchtime that I'm most excited about, and I see an opportunity to drive fundamental change from the ground up, with the Unreal Engine being embedded from day one as the go-to tool when a project is first envisaged. You know, after 36 years in the industry, this is by far the most exciting and uplifting opportunity that I've ever seen. And I have a very strong desire and passion to be part of educating this next generation of designers and professionals with what I know is an exciting future ahead. I sincerely hope that this presentation has provided enough information to ignite your excitement and interest in being part of this real-time revolution, and to assist my team and I with developing a successful MVP pilot of our V2i Sketchtime product. Thank you for listening.